Fines.
It gets put under free parking, and then when you land there, you get all the money.
Oh, all the money collected from fines goes to programs for former players.
Oh, like the
Okay.
people who got banged up from their
Yeah, I
helmets
guess so.
not working
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. According to the NFL, all non-field fines are paid equally to charities designated by the NFL and NFLPA. And there's a list. Okay. Yeah, and some of them are NFL Care Foundation and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah.
Not like Doctors Without Borders or Kids Who Code or something that we would appreciate.
Retired Geeks Foundation.
Not the Technorama podcast fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take 1% of that, thank you. All right, you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let me take down the pre-show banner, and we will begin in 5, 4. This time I'll make sure that the thing actually records. 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 732, Quantum Whiplash. Well, hello and welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. If you're returning, welcome back. We appreciate you giving us your time. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Right over there, I'm pointing at the window. Is Craig?
This window? This window?
Is there a window over there?
There is one over here.
Okay, that works out. Just remember, I'm on the window side now.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So when you pass something, just pass it out the window. Now you can remember.
Throw it
That's
at you.
Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing well. Just trying to navigate through the winter coldness. It's actually not been too bad. I can't
Oh,
complain to you because you've lived it.
it got down to freezing today. And
Did
it
it really?
rained and we had hail and the
Mm,
poor little kitties were at our door, hungry and cold.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Kitties. Well, I actually stepped out. I was at our mountain house this weekend. And this morning I stepped out. It rained yesterday,
Yeah.
so there was a little bit of water on the deck. It wasn't, and the sun came out later on yesterday, and so it wasn't too bad. But I came out and it was just slick enough. I was like, "Whoa!" Did a little ice skating action there on the deck because it was a little frost and it was everywhere, but it wasn't too bad.
Careful, old man, you'll break a hip.
I know, maybe both of them.
I almost slipped in the shower today. That's frightening.
Yeah, that's not good.
You got the tiles and the sharp edges and what? I go, ah!
I know. Yeah,
And it wasn't anything major. I still had one foot, kind of planted, one slipped. I went, ah!
I know. I know that feeling. We got one of those little bottle caddies in the shower, and it had a bottle that would like to drip just a little bit of soap. So,
Oh, you
so
get
it's like you get in the shower and you start going, "Whoa!"
Is it
What's
is
up?
it like a tub shower or is it
No, no,
tiled down?
it's a tiled stand up shower.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just a little bit of soap, and you don't know to expect it. And it's like you start sliding around. It's like, that's not good. So that bottle's gone, to say the least.
Just invert it. 180 degrees, it won't leak.
Hmm. Okay.
All right, should we check out our feedback from last week?
Yes, let's
We
do that.
have a social media question for you.
Mm.
Jump right in.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters.
You do?
Let's find out what you got
Yeah.
today.
Snail mail.
Mailman, mail today.
We asked you a question of the week, and last week we asked you, what are you looking forward to in the new year? We got some responses back. Sweet Steve London says, not looking forward to much, just some simple things like world peace,
Yes.
Sweden in NATO, but
Oh,
mostly
yeah.
to get back to work. I'm assigned a new contract/customer. Interesting assignment. So an exciting spring is coming up.
Very good. Congratulations. on all that.
You got one for me, or should I just read them all?
No, no. Oh, I don't know why I thought you were going to go ahead and through them all. Go through them all. Stephen Westy says the presidential election being over. Amen. And it has not even started, and I'm already sick of it. Yeah, no kidding.
Amen.
Yeah.
That happens every election, though. Just please pick the candidates, but not the ones that everybody wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a rough 2024, and
Yeah.
depending on who wins, it'll be a rough 25, 6, 7.
Look, the whiskey and beer market is doing well this year.
Yeah, there's your investment opportunities.
Yeah, that's right.
What should I invest in right now? Oh,
That's right.
things that make you heavily medicated.
Yeah.
Fritz Ulrich Sievert responds. He says, thanks to my immunotherapy, Nivolumab rocks. I'm not sure I pronounced that right.
Is that the brand
That
name?
keeps my cancer in check. I can
Oh.
delight in another year and many more after that. And that certainly includes also more episodes of Technorama. 101,
Aw, look
everyone.
at
Well,
that.
thank you, Fritz. Hey,
Yep.
sorry, you got to deal with such crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
modern medicine to the rescue sometimes.
That's right.
Having been a cancer survivor myself, I truly appreciate what you're going through. And don't wish it on anybody. Cancer sucks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a couple. Sean Brockman says, hoping that humanity chooses people over profit and power. Choose the earth over profit and power would be good too. And my brother Vince says, traveling.
Oh,
So
they're gonna be traveling together.
I don't know where he's traveling or when he's traveling. So I should probably
Is it-
reach out and find out when he's going.
Next thing you know, there's a knock at your door. Hey,
We're
hey,
here.
Vince. Didn't know you were coming.
Yeah. Are you guys home? No. You get a text message. We're on a cruise.
That's right. Right. So, what are you looking forward to? I know we mentioned a couple of things last year.
So many
Last
things.
week, excuse me, last year.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I for work, it's our Washington release. There's a possibility that I'll get to go to Washington D.C. and co-MC that release event again, like we did in Vancouver last year. That was a lot of fun.
okay.
There's also our knowledge conference coming up in May.
Yep.
We've got our Washington release event. I won't be around for the official kickoff on February 1st, but there's a lot of stuff coming up after that. We've got
Yep.
episode 100 of our Breakpoint podcast over at work. My co-host Lauren has something up her sleeve. She wants to interview me. Her
Why?
original idea was in the style of the Hot Ones videos, where they ask a question and they got to keep eating hotter and hotter hot wings.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
okay.
said, "Oh, please no. I'm an old man and I can take spicy food, but not to that point."
Yeah.
I watched the one with what's his name? Oh, the famous chef.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yes, Gordon
Yeah.
Ramsay. Thank you. I could picture him. I've got a picture of him in my photo album. But yeah, no, he was
He was analyzing it.
he
Each
was,
one.
he was having a lot of fun with it, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was analyzing. He was like, "Oh, that one's got a little bit of this and a little bit of that."
No, he was in pain, and
Oh,
know
yeah.
how vocal he gets and
Yeah.
the comments he makes when he's but
Yeah.
so yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff at work. Donna and I have a couple of trips. We've got the Star Trek cruise with you
right.
and Kim
Yep.
and some friends of ours. Looking forward to that at the end of February. We've got a Hawaiian cruise with a couple of friends of ours from back in Wisconsin, Steve and Teresa. We're going end of January on that. So we've got one or two more episodes. I'm not sure. I can't count right now. In January of Technorama.
Yep. So
And we'll come back in February, do a couple. Then we'll come back in March and do a bunch. So there's, a lot of stuff in the first half that I'm looking forward to. My sister's getting married in June, or I should say
okay.
remarried. So going to Michigan for that, or plan to anyway. And just having a lot of fun planning and looking forward to stuff right now. So
Yeah.
it's very much plan.
Well, I'm looking forward to starting off with my birthday coming up. Then,
What are you going to be? 40 now
yeah, again, that's right.
for the 18th time or
That's
something?
right. Yeah, I'll be double nickel there, 55.
I can't
Then-
drive 55.
Then we got well, the cruise. I'm looking for that. That's always fun, and because it's a lot of things on that cruise is a little unexpected, and a lot of it's planned, and it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Then we got Knowledge, as you mentioned, our big user conference. Oh, and I should mention that I'll be at my job for 10 years in April. So
Oh,
that's
that's
a
right. You got a 10-year anniversary coming up.
yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Which is funny because for a long time that would have put you in seniority. And but there's a lot of 10-year plus people there now
Yeah, you see those on LinkedIn a lot. Hey, I've been here for 10 years. Hey, I've been here. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
When,
So
when 11 and 12 years and now even 13 is less than me, like, whoo, I'm
yeah.
an old man.
Yeah. So there's a good many people that stick around at ServiceNow now.
And I still don't feel like it's a long time. I've been here 13 and a half years, coming up on 14.
Mhm.
And I was at my last job for 22.
Oh yeah.
Everybody goes,
Well,
oh,
I'm in the
you're
same
an
kind of
old timer.
boat. I would have been at my last job longer, but nothing it had nothing to do with them. It was more or less I needed to make a change, and I came to ServiceNow. So I was there for 15 years.
If
I
I
would
was
have been
still there, I would have been this coming week would be 36.
wow.
There are
Yeah.
people that are still there.
Well, and there was a lot of people at my old job that were in the 25 and 30-year
Yep.
range.
That's a
I
good
know
run.
because they would ask me to photograph the luncheon that they have to honor the people. So before I was eligible to be there, I was there. I was
Yeah,
enjoying the lunch with everybody and taking pictures and stuff. So, um,
that'd be fun.
yeah, and then of course later in the year, Dragon Con. I look forward to
Oh,
that
yeah.
day one. As soon as I get back from, I take it back about a week after we get back from Dragon Con. I'm looking forward to the next one. I got to have about a week's downtime, and
Yep.
then ready to go back again.
So Clinton said he's looking for world peace. I continue to hope.
Yeah,
Mike Robinson says winning the lottery and building a trebuchet.
yeah, that's part of his retirement plan, isn't it? Winning the lottery.
No, building a trebuchet.
Oh, and building a trebuchet.
We
Oh,
built
excuse
one of
me.
those with my brother-in-law one time. They're a little trickier than you think, and they don't always result in. Yeah, there's a lot of physics and leverage and whatnot to get it to.
Oh
We
yeah,
were just flinging golf balls, and this thing had probably a 8 to 10-foot arm on it, and would go flip, and it would
oh yeah,
hit this golf ball. We go, is that all the further we got? What's going
yeah.
on? Add more weights.
What was it? Was it MythBusters? They did the trebuchet thing, and they were throwing pumpkins. I know that, and they had that pumpkin
Probably
challenge. But some of those look scary. Don't be standing there when it goes off because it has that
no.
counterweight.
Yep. Yeah, and it sort of flip flops back and forth after it launches too. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
yikes! Imagine the really big one where they had people in squirrel cages that were winding this thing up.
yeah. Nope, pass.
Oh, that's a siege weapon. All right, that is it for our feedback. We want to hear back from you on our question at the end of the show.
Another letter from our listener, Dave.
So long, listeners, Dave.
Yeah.
What do we got next? Oh, yes, your minds are all programmed. As soon as we finish the mail that the history music is coming. So
Yeah.
it's on this day for January 10th, 2024. It's, of course, the 10th day of the year, which means there are 356 days remaining in the year. It was on this date in 1776 that Thomas Paine published his pamphlet, Common Sense, and apparently nobody read it.
Nobody that remembers it. Actually, I did read it one time. The first steamboat on the Ohio River or the Mississippi River arrived in New Orleans 82 days after departing from Pittsburgh on this date in 1812.
Was that the one that Mickey Mouse was whistling to?
Yeah, it's in the public domain now.
Now that he's off of copyright infringement, that's right. I can whistle that tune, sort of.
Steamboat Willie is free. Sort of.
Free Willy? Did you say that?
Steamboat Willie. That was
Free
Mickey
Steam-
Mouse's. That was the name of the cartoon.
January
For
10th,
him.
1863, the Metropolitan Railway, the world's oldest underground railway, opened between Paddington and Farringdon, marking the beginning of the London Underground in 1863. And it's
Wow.
still there.
It is. And it was 154 years ago today that John D. Rockefeller incorporates Standard Oil.
Oh boy, what a nice guy he was.
He was awesome.
Also today, 1927, Fritz Lang's futuristic film Metropolis was released in Germany.
Yeah. That was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it still is.
Oh yeah.
The United States Army Signal Corps successfully conducted Project Diana, bouncing radio waves off the moon and receiving the reflected signals on this date in 1946. So basically using our satellite as a satellite.
It was 34 years ago today that Time Warner was formed by the merger of Time Inc. and Warner Communications, which is a good thing. They didn't just call it like Time X. Oh, wait, that was taken.
Timex.
Happy birthday goes out in the state to German physician and explorer Martin Lichtenstein, born in the state in 1780.
All right, let me butcher this one. Karl Ritter von Gia, an Italian-Austrian engineer, designed the Simmering Railway. It was simmering. He had a little steam coming off of it. I believe he was born on this date in 222 days ago. Years ago.
You mean
Years.
smooth, Craig, smooth.
I'm sorry, I was thinking simmering. I still had that on my mind.
Move on. Italian paleontologist, archaeologist, and ethnographer Luigi Pigorini was born in the state in 1842. Hey, it's a Luigi.
Isaiah Schur, the German
Sure.
math. Huh? Sure? Are you sure about that?
I'm sure. You
Okay.
sure? He's sure.
The German mathematician and academic was born 149 years ago today. And I thought there was two sentences there. My bad. I was going to keep on reading.
Another German mathematician and academic, Heinrich Baymann, was born 133 years ago today.
An American physicist and engineer, Catherine Burr Blodgett, was born on this date in 1898.
Ray Bolger, yes, the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
He was born today in 1904.
Wow. And Gordon Kidd Teal, the American engineer and inventor, was born 117 years ago today.
Roy E. Disney, we were just talking about Disney, so why not?
Yeah.
Roy Disney was born today in 1930.
And also born on that same date in 1936, American physicist and astronomer, Nobel Prize laureate, Robert Woodrow Wilson.
Or Woodrow Wilson Roberts. No, that was the president's. No. American computer scientist and mathematician Donald Knuth was born on this date in 1838. I remember hearing his name in my classes.
And also born on that same date in 1953, American singer-songwriter Pat Benatar. I was just listening to her.
It's like a tidal wave. American computer scientist and academic Catherine S. McKinley is 62. Listener birthdays this week include one a beautiful birthday. It's Ralph Whitfield, a.k.a. Go for you, Ralph.
I got a Disney thing going on tonight.
I'm all over the place.
Goofy Ralph.
And that's the way it was on this day for January 10th, 2024. Hey, if you want to be on the birthday calendar like Goofy Ralph, you can go over to chuckchat.com/birthday, like it says on the bottom of the screen. Or
Ding, ding. Yep.
if you're listening, I'll just say it again, chuckchat.com/birthday. Fill out the form. We'll get your name on the birthday calendar and give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. It could be in October. It could be in March. It could be in July. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. We're marching right along as the calendar goes by. So,
And as we're trying to eat up the song.
nah, we were. Let's see if it's at the end. I don't know. My spidey sense says yes. Nope.
Spidey sense.
So much for that. I
Your
have
Chuck Tingle told you wrong.
That wasn't one of my superpowers. All right. On to our random.
Good news, everyone.
Yeah.
What?
Well, we do have some good news. NASA is headed for the moon next week.
All right.
According to popsci.com, which I thought was popsicle.com at first.
He got
Populous-
excited. You got excited until you
Well, they said they're taking all this stuff. They're taking some high-tech stuff like the Near Infrared Volatile Spectrometer System, or NIRVIS, which isn't a good acronym.
Yeah.
The Neutron Spectrometer System, or NSS, which is meant for identifying substances such as water on the lunar surface,
Mhm.
or the LRA, the Laser Retroreflector Array. Wouldn't that make it the LRRA?
Yeah.
That'll be handy for measurements between the moon and the Earth, which I thought we were already doing.
Yeah, I thought we
While
did
the
too.
linear energy transfer spectrometer, or LETS, it's not, will assess the lunar surface radiation to advance
Let's.
future astronauts' safety. So they got a bunch of cool stuff going on, but they're also bringing some interesting stuff. Okay. They're bringing Bitcoin. How do you bring a digital currency? They say, well, they're going to bring a physical Bitcoin engraved with a private encryption key. So, hey, whoever finds it, woohoo! It might be worth
There-
something.
I can see an astronaut fling, flicking it out with his
It's like,
thumb.
and it's probably, got in the bank like 1 microbit.
Yeah, there's a little pig bank, and the Bitcoin sitting right in the top.
Hey
in the
man,
slot.
you left the birthday banner up. There we go.
Oh, it's all right.
Focus, man, focus.
I got a lot to do here.
Well, they brought some Stranger Things too. They've brought some
Series?
DNA from Arthur C. Clarke, as well as multiple original Star Trek actors. I'm assuming they mean like Jimmy Doohan, etc., as well as Gene Roddenberry.
That's right.
That's not all. The rocket is also bringing along a hunk of Mount Everest. I'm not sure why you'd. Sounds like they're bringing a garage sale.
Let's just collect all the good things on Earth and send them up to the moon for safekeeping.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So they're doing this in preparation. First of all, they haven't been up there in over 50 years since the Apollo 17 mission in 1972. And they are doing this as sort of prep steps for the Artemis astronauts, the Artemis 2 mission, which is planned to touch down later this decade.
You know what? I got this vision of the thing going to the moon, landing, and the arms open, and a bunch of crap just falls out.
Like, yeah.
Little plastic rings and stuff you get out of the quarter machine at the grocery
I
store.
had a friend with a car like that in college. He'd open it up and cans would fall out and what.
That's right. Piece of Everest go over here, and bobbleheads go over there. Yeah.
My Bitcoin. All right. Also on news of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're getting closer to more Star Trek technology made real. We've got the cell phones and whatnot that you can say were inspired. Well,
We
they're
did mention that they were talking to whales last week.
they're
So-
teleporting images using light. Now, this is not what you would think where, if I email a picture to Craig, this gets into some quantum stuff and my brain couldn't quite wrap my head around this, but apparently they're sending the data without actually sending the data, which is the image here says, if you want to send the bank your fingerprint, you can do it by sending one photon with no information. But it
It's gotta have
says
some information, you'd think.
that's what I would think. But apparently the way that photons and qubits and this quote unquote alphabet goes, you can do it. So it says traditionally 2 communication parties physically sent the information from one to the other, even in the quantum realm, says the principal investigator Andrew Forbes, professor at Wits University. Now it's possible to teleport information so that it never physically travels across the connection. That's the part where my head just goes, yo, what? So previously,
Well, I would say
teleportation-
even the idea of the Star Trek transporter, it's got to send your information somewhere else and then bring it up, even if it's converts it to energy, transports it, and then reassembles it. It's data, right?
let's see, one practical application. I'm going to get the right P word here soon. One practical application of this technology is in banking. For example, a customer can send a fingerprint to a bank without physically transferring the information. The bank sends an entangled photon to the customer, who then uses a nonlinear detector to combine it with the information to be sent. This results in the information appearing at the bank as if it were teleported. This method prevents interception and no information is physically sent.
Hmm.
Again, it sounds really cool, but I don't understand it. I need some more videos on YouTube to help me understand this one. But hey, if
Yeah,
it prevents interception, sounds like really good security to me.
that's interesting. All right.
Yep. Should we move on?
Yes, let's do because my head's hurting.
Hacks and strange. It usually happens when we talk about quantum stuff.
Yeah,
We
I've
get,
got
we get
hurdy
herdy.
brain already.
Yep, we get herdy brain easy around here. All right, the you know those classic images we all got when Voyager went past Uranus and Neptune. Uranus
Yes,
kind of this greenish, grayish, bluish, hazy blob on its
circle.
side.
Yeah,
Neptune was this brilliant blue.
yeah.
Turns out that wasn't quite right. Nope, they're almost the exact same color. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do a screen share for those following along at home. Let's go to this format. There we go. So the top two diagrams outline what we're all familiar with. Uranus, kind of that grayish, greenish, and Neptune with dark blue. But the actual data is very, very close. In fact, Uranus fluctuates. It's a little bluer in what did it say? The winter and summer, and then through the spring and fall, because it's on its side.
Yeah.
When one of the poles is lit up, it gets a little bluer. When it's not, it gets a little greener. So it fluctuates a little bit. The reason we're all familiar with seeing Neptune as blue is because they did some enhancement on this to show the different bands of weather going back and forth, the clouds going by. When you look at the original, like, oh, I see a smudge. They really wanted to call that out. It's really hard to
So
see
so
the
their mistake went viral and everybody started using
it
that
it
particular
wasn't a
image?
mistake. In fact, almost every image you see from a space explorer or telescope is enhanced in some way.
Okay.
I mean, you think about it, those little starbursts they put on, the deep field things. Yeah, I think that's artistic license in my opinion, but
Hmm.
if you take was it James Webb,
Yep.
it doesn't look in the visible spectrum. So you have to enhance it for us
Oh,
to
yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of those
understand.
pictures, they're infrared or they're not natural color and they gotta enhance it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they'll combine several different spectrums and go, here's the X-ray overlaid with ultraviolet, overlaid with visible. You go, wow, that's a beautiful galaxy. You're like, well, that's not what you'd see if you look through a telescope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think this is kind of cool. It's like, oh, look, kids, it really looks like this.
You know what got me thinking? I was wondering from the time that I had a science book in, say, high school to now, I wonder what in that book has been proven and disproven over time. I'd be curious to know what's changed.
Um, a lot. I mean, just in listening to Astronomy Cast since they
Right.
started in 2006,
Uh-huh.
they once in a while they'll go through and say, "Oh, we're on our 18th anniversary or our 19th anniversary,"
Mhm.
and they'll say, "This is what we thought back then," and that's you know less than 2 decades later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was watching a PBS special. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but I was watching a PBS special on plate tectonics.
Right.
You may think that's a pretty old idea. It's not. It's within our lifetime.
Yeah, I think I'm aware of that, yeah. It's pretty
It's
amazing.
it's pretty radical stuff, and they needed the data to prove it. Because you can't just say, "Oh, well, there's these mid-oceanic ridges that are, you know, pushing the continents apart." And somebody goes, "Well, what happens on the other side?" And wait a minute, if all the continents were linked together in, Pangea,
Yep.
what was happening on the other side of the globe? And at one point they thought, well, the Earth was much smaller at that point, so there wasn't much other side of the globe. Like, and where did all the I'm thinking, well, that's a stupid theory because where'd all the extra mass come from
Well, just
between
like
then and now?
Pangea, then you'd have a super ocean on the other side
You
unless
would.
there were.
You
Yeah,
there was.
yeah.
Yeah. So, ideas change and what seems
Was
like a far-fetched idea,
was Earth really smaller?
no.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's grown or
It was
contracted.
way, way back when before Thea came and crashed into us and caused to have a moon, we had a smaller mass,
Yeah.
but there were no continents at that point. It was still a just getting over that molten mass and cooling down, and then, "Hey, look, planet, smash. Ooh, we're
Yeah.
molten again."
Yeah.
Such
Wow.
scientific on this show. Yeah, YouTube's got my number now with a lot of scientific documentaries. I'll get into those when we get to the remote
Yeah, I
section.
know your list makes mine look terrible. I
I'm
was
not
like,
covering all of them. I'm just gonna
yeah.
let you know and give you a spot
Well,
of
no, I'm like, wow, he's got some time to watch some stuff. I don't,
and all of these are not short, but I can watch them at 1.5 because most of these documentaries talk slow in the first place.
yeah,
Well, when we proposed the theory
I know.
of plate tectonics,
Oh, there's a
ah,
couple of YouTubers I like. I love their content, but it's like you need to speak up faster. Yeah, so I'll speed them up a little bit. Yeah,
that's why I pity the people that will listen to this Technorama on more than 1.0 speed because I talk fast
yeah.
anyway.
So
Have
do
fun.
I.
All right. Yeah, and most Southerners don't.
I don't talk fast.
Let's see. Hacks and strange stories next. We're out of news stories.
I'm sorry, I don't speak fast.
Wait, that was the Hacks and strange stories, the
It
Neptune.
was.
Oh, okay. I was rolling right from space story to space story. Never mind. Okay, this is the part where we give a shout out to the chat room
That's right.
because these are awesome people that hang out with us. Let's see. Clinton said on that planetary one, the images often say false color. Hmm.
Oh, by the way, Clinton also says, and this is what we've talked about this before. Those little mirrors that are set up for
Yeah.
measurement,
If it
and they
wasn't
can.
Apollo 11, it was one of the Apollo missions. They did leave up this sort of array. And I've seen these little laser reflectors
Mhm.
up close. Not the ones on the moon, obviously.
We saw it on. We've seen it. We talked about it on the show. What they.
Yeah, they're cylindrical with like
Mhm.
a third hacked off, and that no matter where you hit, it will reflect directly back to you. It's
Yeah,
almost like a parabola in a way.
that's pretty cool. All
But
right,
it's
finish shouting out to the chat room.
okay. Shout out to the chat. We got Clinton, we got Mike Robinson, we've got
Oh,
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
We got somebody else out there. There's a few viewers that
StreamYard. There you go.
chimed in. Yeah. Live viewer comments shown in the StreamYard. This is an example. Wonderful. So, hello and welcome to everybody who joined us. If you're live while we're recording this, great. If you're not alive, false.
Yeah, or
We'll
have
get-
somebody check it for you.
We do this show Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time
Mhm.
on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter X. We should just call it X Twitter because that's what it was called and is called.
Yeah, that's what I call it because I don't really use it anymore. X Twitter,
Quitter.
Twitter.
Has everybody left?
N-
Join us
well,
Sunday nights.
I think it's still busy. I don't know. I go there every once in a while. I'll pull it up, and it's like, wow, there's like a lot going on. But just like
I
it has been.
I used to go there about weekly, and now it's less than once a week.
Yeah, I don't go there very often. I mean, it's still. I'm saying is there's still content rolling in,
Oh yeah,
just like I'd always been. But at the same time, don't really care.
I find a lot of the same content, or at least the content I'm looking for, on LinkedIn. That's where my community is,
Or Reddit. I can
or
find my
Reddit. Yes, I've been
too.
spending a lot of time on Reddit lately.
I I love Reddit. My son's like, there's some changes I'm not sure about, but I'll be honest with you, I go there, especially if I've got like the books tablet I bought. You know,
Yep.
I go there and there's a whole
Yeah,
subreddit just for that. So things
Yep.
like that, certain interests.
yeah, I've discovered some
Perfect.
wonderful utilities for my Remarkable as well, and even starting to get into one guy's GitHub repo and giving me some ideas. He goes, "Hey, can you put in an issue for that?" It's like, "Yeah, I'll give you an enhancement request, sure." And then I jumped into somebody else's thread. They go, "I want this," and I said, "Oh man." Somebody else was going, "I don't know how you would design that." I said, "I do.
Yeah, I do.
Here's some
Yeah.
ideas." And then the author of these hacks came back and said, "Oh, you've given me something to think about." Like, yay! Because this is something I asked Remarkable for about 2.5 years ago. This
Yeah.
is what I'd really like. And if you
Yeah.
can't do it, this third party guy is going to do it. So anyway, yeah, I'm finding, the majority of the communities are very, at least the ones that I'm on. I'm only on a handful or less. They're
Yeah.
very polite. Nobody's
They
really
can be.
anybody.
Actually, some areas of Reddit are great. Some Reddit areas it's like I'm not sure if I should be here, but and some you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a subreddit about the presidential election, you can expect some volatility. But
Yeah.
if you're all gathered around a common interest, like fine writing ballpoint pens. It's like, yep. What,
Yep.
you're going to be sharing ideas and everybody's going to be thankful for the ideas, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff.
I've actually been on Reddit for 17 years. I'm like,
I think I've been on about 5, but seriously on it for about 6 months.
yeah, I don't comment on it a whole. I do. There's been a couple of times I replied to somebody because I knew I could help them with whatever question they were asking.
Yeah.
And then some people made suggestions. I don't comment on it a lot, like I do have like on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, 17 years. I'm like, I actually signed up October 31st, 2006.
Happy Halloween. You should have taken a screenshot. I'm sure it looks completely different.
Oh yeah, well I can go pull it up on the
Not right now. Not right
Oh.
now. We're in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah.
And we're about to thank our patrons. This is the part where we say thank you to everyone who supports this show financially for as little as $1 a show. These people have gone to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. Hint, hint. Banner.
I was in the folder view. Sorry. There you go.
Thank you to Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandy Man Coyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorgesh Rowan, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook.
Tim Cook.
Everybody make sure that your contact information is up to date on Patreon because Craig and I are going on another trip. You never know. Might be sending you a picture via email like we did last year. We might be sending you a postcard. Don't know.
Could be cash. But we don't know.
Likely not, but it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you send us all your bank accounts and routing numbers.
We'll be distributing the Bitcoin shortly after the trip.
It's on the moon. I left my
Right.
wallet on the moon.
On the moon.
I left my wallet on the moon.
That's right.
That'd be something funny. Oh yeah, the Bitcoin is in my.
Imagine astronauts get off the ship and we're walking on the moon. There's like a wallet sitting there. It's been sitting
No,
there
it's when you get back and go, hey, can I see your ID?
Yeah.
You're coming into a
Through customs from the moon.
right from the moon. Oh, I left my wallet on the moon. It's got my Bitcoin in it too.
I'll go back and get it.
We're still laughing about like the first article we did 25 minutes ago.
I'm still laughing at probably the article we did in 2005.
You probably are. That's how Craig rolls.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. They headed over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. And not only they get a shout out and maybe a postcard, they also get an extra episode that we will record immediately following this. So Thank you, everybody. Okay. That's the end of that. What comes next? The Media Corner. We have something in the Media Corner this week.
Welcome to Blockhead Video. Hey, where can I find some good information about music and TV and videos and things? Over here, in the Media Corner.
From Variety, Ready Player One is on the way to be turned into a massive metaverse experience in partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery.
I think it's kind of a no-brainer, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's a great inspiration. In fact, Ernest Klein said, wow, the future's here before I expected it. So it's kind of like what we were talking about before. Star Trek inspiring different technologies and different philosophies and whatnot. So yeah, this makes sense as a good starting point. Implementing it, I don't think it'll be quite what we saw in the movie because it's got to happen in stages. You're going to have, like any other software project, you're going to have phase 1 and then phase 2, and then it'll get a little bit better. Somebody told me whenever you see like new software and you're going, well, it's not quite ready.
Yeah.
The response is supposed to be, this is the worst you will ever see it.
Okay. Well, that's one way to positively look at it, right?
Right. It's only
going to get better from here. Yeah.
So it says they're calling it the Readyverse. According to Futureverse, which is the company that's working with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was co-founded by Shiraz Senderoff and Aaron McDonald, the Readyverse will champion principles of the open metaverse, which are provable digital ownership, community-owned infrastructure, decentralization, security, and interoperability. Which sounds good to me. Like Meta isn't going to own the whole dang thing.
Right. When
That's part of what I liked.
well, it didn't there's been several online uh m- what was that one? Uh I can't remember the name of it. It was one where you're supposed to go in it and Second Life. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
So Second Life, you were supposed to go in it and basically be able to just live. And I'm like, you own things, you own land, you build houses and all that kind of stuff. And what happened to that? you know,
James Halliday bought it.
is that what happened?
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wonder if there's gonna be Easter eggs in this. Why don't they just call it what they did in the movie? Oasis. Why don't they just call it Oasis?
Well, if Ernie will let them, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Because they said, where is it? I'm looking for the quote in here. I thought it was at the end, but I don't see it. Basically, this new company, Readyverse Studios or Futureverse, will they're
Have the
basically going to
opportunity.
own everything now. They've taken over the Ernest Klein's IP or his vision.
It
Anything
says
that
with
he
the
created.
Readyverse Studios, we have the opportunity to leverage the revolutionary technology Futureverse has been building for several years to bring to life the best possible version of the metaverse. I'm confident with this team, we have the brightest minds, the biggest hearts in place to lead us into the next chapter of our collective future, a future that would make Wade Watts and James Halliday proud. Is
I'm
that what you're
sure
talking
they
about?
would. No, there was something in there that said what happens with his stuff. I can't remember. I lost it. I knew I should have used that highlighter plugin for Chrome.
Oh, yeah.
So interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what platform you'll be able to experience this on, but if it's anything, I hope that the future is not quite as dystopic as the movie was. That you know
You don't want to live in the trailer stacked up.
the stacks. No,
Yeah,
I'm
the
not living
stacks.
in
Yeah,
the stacks.
yeah.
I'll experience this from my own house or some kind of parlor.
Right.
All right, on to the Geek Library, which now is out of order in my icons.
You told me to change it.
I did. I didn't change my soundboard though. Well, from NBC News this last week, a 13-year-old is apparently the first person, at least the first person to prove that they have beaten Tetris.
Yeah.
I don't know what platform he was playing this on, but
That's a good question. I don't know either.
it looked like a Nintendo because he had a Nintendo game controller in his hand.
Okay.
And now, how do you beat Tetris? Well, you get it up to 9999999 points, and it can't roll over, so it basically stops.
Yeah.
And this kid is playing really lightning fast. I mean, these things are falling down to like boom, 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 and he is spinning them around and positioning them using a technique that the gamers call rolling. Now he's holding this game controller and he's got something with his left hand. He's got something on his right hand, and he's basically drumming his fingers on the back of this game controller.
Yeah.
And
He's got like his finger in the right place on the button. So when you do like this, it just vibrates
when
the
you do like this, that
controller.
doesn't work in an audio podcast.
I know. Well, I'm looking at myself talking about it.
Boom,
But
boom,
you
boom,
have the
boom.
finger right on the button,
Yeah.
and on the backside, as you roll your fingers, like you're
Yep.
drumming your fingers on a desk, on the backside of the controller, it makes the connection faster than you would if you were just pushing the button.
So what happened was that NBC News got on the horn with this kid and hooked him up with the creators, Alexei Pajitnov and Hank Rogers. And this kid's like, he says, what you've done is really amazing. We don't know that anybody's done this game has been out since '84.
Yeah, it's been out
almost
for
40 years, and this 13-year-old kid crushed it. And his reaction as he's playing the game is like he just won the lottery. Which is
Yeah.
really cute. And so Alexi and Hank get on this basically a Zoom call with the newscaster and the kid, and like, kid, you did some amazing work. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they said, now, what do you want to be when you grow up? He says, it's a little early to make that decision now. Like, good for him.
I
Be a
want the
kid.
Nobel Prize for Tetris.
The sad part about the news story is his dad passed away before he could see this accomplishment. So he basically
Right.
dedicated the game and the accomplishment to his dad, which was really sweet.
Right. It's pretty cool though. I've always liked Tetris. Although I've been more of a casual player, not like competitive, like or trying to get to the end or
Right.
as far as I could. Like this, it's like I may get a few levels in, and that's about it. But
Yeah, I get bored with it real fast.
yeah, I mean, it's a great concept for a game, though. I like it.
And that music, boy. Makes
Makes you want to start doing that little Russian dance. Where you're on the floor kicking.
Now the listeners got that stuck in their head. You're welcome.
That's right.
Let's get another song stuck in your head. This
Ah.
one is for time to pass the remote. Tell you about what we're watching, listening to, reading, or otherwise interested in. So I'm going to go first. My
Okay.
retro movie continues with Jurassic Park from 1993. I don't know why. I just wanted to see how well it held up. The graphics are getting a little aged, but hey, for 93, this ain't too bad.
It's not bad. It's not
It's
bad
not
at
bad.
all.
The story is still decent, although it needs some modifications. Like, hey, shouldn't Gallimimus or somebody have feathers by this point? And you got to remember that back in 93, they were ribbing on.
Hey, speaking of science things that have changed
Yeah.
since high school, a lot of those dinosaurs had feathers. So like you
Yes.
just mentioned.
And back in 93, it was a radical thing to say that birds are the direct descendants of dinosaurs. They were
Mhm.
making fun of Dr. Grant in this movie, going, really? They even mentioned Dr. Robert Bacher and his theories. I'm like, I remember him talking about it too. I used to watch a lot of Discovery Channel or whatever it was, 30, 35 years ago.
Right.
You go, this guy's onto something. And now it's pretty much standard operating procedure to go, yep, some of the dinosaurs were not wiped out and survived as birds.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. And I may go on to watch others in the series. Although,
Okay.
you'd think you'd learn your lesson. Like you should have nuked that island from orbit.
Right. Remember, there was a documentary. I want to say I saw it on YouTube. It might take me a little while to remember where it was at, but they were talking about Oh, I know what it was. It was the documentary about ILM that's on Disney Plus,
Mhm.
and they were talking about how they were moving everything from stop motion and practical to CGI
Mhm.
throughout their process or their lifeline, their life life cycle. And anyway, one of those was Jurassic Park because that was a big thing that they worked on, and showing the T-Rex walking with just a skeleton, and then they put the skin on it and everything, and how they brought Jurassic Park to life. Which again, as you mentioned, 93 or so, that was witchcraft.
Yeah, that was pretty advanced stuff.
So
What have you been watching?
was that?
What have you been watching?
All right, so this one was really good. It was called Squaring the Circle: The Story of Hypnosis. I keep wanting to say that hypnosis rather with a G. It's the story of Storm and Poe. They were two artists in the UK, and they were friends with some of the guys from Pink Floyd. But more importantly, what they did was they put together a company called Hypnosis, and they made all of just about every iconic album cover that you've seen from the 60s and 70s.
Sure.
brought them to life. The prism from Pink Floyd, the cow in the field, Led Zeppelin with the Houses of the Holy has the kids going up the rocks.
Is it mainly the photography ones or the ones that look like they're airbrushed, like heavy metal?
No, it was mostly photography
Okay.
style, but I think, I think what you just mentioned, there's a good mix of that in there too,
Sure.
over time. Band on the Run from Wings, you know, where it's got everybody in the spotlight,
Mhm.
all the actors.
Mhm.
That was one of theirs. So yeah, it was. They kept pulling out one thing after another. I'm like, they did all that, and it was amazing. And to hear some of their tie-ins with like Sid Barrett, you know, Sid Barrett famously had to drop out of Pink Floyd because he did a little too much LDS,
In the
way,
60s.
way too much, and he basically was not there anymore. You know, so and
Sure.
but he was a roommate of these guys, so that's how, you know, a lot of connections were made. It was really cool. It was fun to watch and see some of that history that you don't normally hear about.
Cool. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
look for that. Where did you watch that?
that was on. Oh man, I'll tell you in a second. I'll go pull it
Okay.
up.
You do that while I come back to my second one. And this one was on Netflix. It's called Elvis, and it is one of these pseudo documentary, drama picks, kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody was for Queen or Rocket
Yeah,
Man was for Elton. Not what I would call a documentary, but an over Hollywood artistic license version of it for, of course, Elvis. And much of the framework is there when he went into the army, and it was more a story about uh, the Colonel.
oh, you
His
talking about Tom
humanity.
Hanks? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. This I we saw that. It was good. Yeah,
yeah. They really did a good job with his fat suit makeup on this one.
yeah. Yes, they did. No, I
In fact,
remember enjoying this movie very much. Yeah,
it took me until I think he saw him on stage or something, about 10 minutes into this video going, "Oh my gosh, that's Tom Hanks."
yeah,
Because he said one key phrase, in this kind of this low tone, like, "It was him." Like, "Oh, it sounds just like Tom Hanks." "Oh, it is Tom Hanks."
yeah, yeah. No, that yeah, they did a good job with that movie. I
That
enjoyed
was
that.
fun. It was
Hmm.
fun. I mean, there were some memorable moments like, "Oh, man, forgot about the days." Yeah, I didn't realize that the Las Vegas Hilton, LVH slash whatever it is now, started out as the Intercontinental. Like, yep, that's what it was in the beginning. So it's kind of fun seeing some Vegas spots that have changed names a few times
Right.
or gone.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of those hotels, yeah, they've been gone for a long time now. Um, Kim and I were watching the second season of Quantum Leap, the newer iteration of it.
Okay.
Uh, I think we either caught up or it was on like a holiday hiatus, and and the next part of the season comes up. I'm trying to figure that part out, but uh, I'm really enjoying this version of Quantum Leap. I like the stories. Sometimes I think in some ways that they try to be a little too preachy, which I don't need preachy. Just make your point as part of the story, but keep hitting you over the head on some things. But I think it's done really well, and they mention, of course, Sam and Al and everybody um, from the original Quantum Leap.
Mhm.
So it's really cool. There's some of those callbacks, but you don't actually see them. But
Better than the new version of Fantasy Island?
I don't know. I haven't
Oh,
seen that version of. Well, I don't know because I haven't seen that version of Fantasy Island, but I have to say that I'm really enjoying this Quantum Leap. We watched
all right.
like 8 of them in a row. It was, or not
Yeah.
quite in a row, but it was, yeah, it was binging them, catching up. And then you can see those on Peacock.
Yep. All right, my third one is lots of documentaries on YouTube, as I mentioned before. I don't know what got this started. I think it was the one on the 1495. That's a year, not like a computer model or anything.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? Why
I
not
had a
floppy
1495 CPU.
floppy disk drive or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the syphilis outbreak of 1495, which common theory is that Columbus discovered the New World in 1492, and the Native Americans, the Indians, the people in the Caribbean, perhaps, gave it to the Europeans. They came back, and now we have syphilis in Europe.
Okay.
Although this one lady was excavating a site in Hull, which is in the UK, big port over there at the time. They were doing like 1 million gallons of wine a day or something. It was ridiculous. And she came across 3 skeletons buried in this church graveyard that showed classic signs of syphilis. And you have to be way, way, way advanced for it to show on the bones. There were like
Right.
pits in the skull and
Wow.
extra grown both on the thigh
I've never
bone.
heard of that. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's nasty stuff in its later stages because most people died before they got to the late stages. They lived to maybe the ripe old age of 30. Well, this guy was between 25 and 35 and he had advanced stages of this. And they found 3 of them. And they said, "Well, let's find out how when he was buried." So they actually found wood because they were in a waterlogged state. They said, "We got wood from the coffins," which dates to generously somewhere between 1350 and the early 1400s, like 1412 or
Wow.
1420. Well, wait a minute. That means they were in Europe with syphilis before Columbus sailed.
Oh, yeah.
How'd that happen? Wait, and there's all these people that have the Columbian theory going, well, that's one isolated case. You really haven't shown anything. And she said, that's because everybody thought it came from the Americas and wasn't looking. So this other scientist came up and said,
Oh, that. So what you're
Actually-
saying is when he came back with it, that's when they took notice of it because
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. But then this other guy said, we've been excavating in Greece from like 2,000 years ago, and we show skeletons with the same symptoms. So here's what the current theory is. The Native Americans, yes, they did have it. And there is a mild version of it, almost like chicken pox. It was a skin lesion because these guys it was passed skin to skin,
Right.
not sexually. And they would get this mild infection and then they'd basically have immunity. Well, that's all fine and dandy until the Europeans bring you smallpox and wipe out the people who are sort of immune
we
to it.
come bearing gifts.
Yeah. With a lot of new diseases.
Oh, yeah.
So many people were killed that they lost their immunity and then they started dying from the more virulent. In rural situations where and then you think about, wait a minute, the Europeans wore a lot more clothes than the Native Americans did. So
Mhm.
it couldn't pass skin to skin. So the virus mutated into this more aggressive form. It said, "Hey, if I'm going to
Wow.
stay alive, I got to do some, more nasty things to do it."
Mhm.
So we've sort of lost this skin to skin contact version that was mild and wouldn't set you off down the road of destruction. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting to see how things changed and what medical evidence they've got. Again, a lot of this is still theory based and hasn't been proven out. But that was one of them. There was another one. You all remember April 15th, 2019, Notre Dame had a big fire
Mhm. Yep.
and was damaged. They are rebuilding that. And the target
Yes.
is to get it done by the Olympics. Well, this video is 3 years into that.
Okay.
And they were talking about there's a lot of lead in that building. The roof was lead. The spire was
God.
lead. And
So
now they have this-
that all melted and is on every.
not necessarily melted, but lead dust.
Oh,
Now, they did engineer this building very, very well, and they even found some surprises that they wouldn't have known about unless there was a fire.
so, some initials somebody scraped into.
There was a major restoration because the building was abandoned in the 1800s, and
Right.
this guy, blah blah blah, Leduc, I only remember the last part,
Uh-huh.
did a renovation. I mean, at one point it was used as a storage house, and there was water leaking in, and he really restored it to the building we knew about. And they said when France said after the 2019 fire, we are going to restore it exactly how it was, timber for timber on the roof and the spire, because if we change it, that changes the way the weight is distributed, and we don't know what the building is going to do if we modify or add or take away anything. We have to put it back the way it was. So it's really fascinating. All this stuff. they are cleaning all the bricks too, or all the limestone. It's going to be gleaming white again, where it was kind of,
Oh,
that
yeah.
dingy candle gray, looks like coal dust got all over it for the last 2 centuries or 8 centuries. Um, so there was a fire in this thing at one point, way back in like 1300. Um, so it really fascinating stuff if you're interested in Notre Dame.
Mhm.
I found some commercials, what we ate 60 years ago. A lot of them are post commercials for like Toasties.
Oh, every once in a while, I'll go watch some old commercials on YouTube.
Yeah, James, not James Arthur, Peter Graves was in one of them. So look for the ice cream with Elsie on the cover. And I was like, Joey, you ever been in a cockpit of an airplane before?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
That's all I can think of when I thought of Peter Graves. Like,
Yeah.
selling ice cream to little boys.
Oh, no.
Um, there's a video that I watched about the Hindenburg. They found some new film footage. Actually, it's old film footage, but
Hmm?
most of the footage you see is where the Zeppelin
news?
is crashing down in front of you,
Yeah,
right?
it's like the news or something. Their news camera footage is what we typically have seen,
Well, they
right?
put all of the newscasters at one point. They said,
Right,
"You
right.
guys
That's
all
what I mean.
stand over there." One guy with his film camera was over by the hangar, so he got more a side-on shot, and his
Oh,
film starts rolling earlier. He still doesn't have the moment of ignition, but you can clearly see it's
he was
working.
probably scrambling to turn it back on.
Well,
You know?
he had it by his side, and he was quicker on the trigger than all the reporters were. So they verified this was actual footage from this was not a copy. It
Right.
went with this particular camera, and the code on the film reel said it was manufactured in 1936, which is when you would use film for filming something in
Sure. Yeah.
37, which is
That's pretty
when
awesome.
Hindenburg blew up. Yeah, unfortunately, the film itself was fascinating, but didn't really tell us any truths about it. Then they got into the science, how the ship was built, what the conditions were. A lot of theory about where they drop the tow ropes, basically. You
Yep.
see them dropping the lines. It was raining. How come that didn't ground it and it ignited right away? So, just cool science stuff. Um, Watched about the catastrophic blizzards of the winter of 1977 and 78 and how the weather patterns caused that and what was happening. I watched one called Flood in the Desert about the St. Francis Dam out in California
Uh-huh.
and the water rights and the Owens Valley and the Native Americans and the disaster that happened when this guy said, I think I want this dam 20 feet higher, but he didn't make it any thicker. That's why it burst.
Oh, yeah.
And
Let's
that
have more water pressure here and just yeah.
but if it weren't for that, we
Mhm.
wouldn't have had the scrutiny on the Hoover Dam.
Right.
So it wasn't just one guy's vision and mistakes, it was a whole
It's
panel
funny.
of people
I
with
just speaking of Reddit earlier, I just watched. I was thumbing through it earlier this morning, and I saw this video of a guy building what looked like a miniature dam.
Yeah.
Uh, is probably what 3 foot high, 4 foot. Not huge, but and he was building it. And on all the comments, one guy said, as a dam designer, I can tell you the first time it rains, this is going to be gone. And he was talking about how thin it was, and it's not the water pressure at the top because
It's
he
at
had
the
he had
bottom.
a spillway and everything,
Yeah.
but it's the pressure, yeah, at the bottom.
Yep.
That's as soon as there's enough water, it's gonna be gone.
And on the sides, on the abutments. It really is engineering those things is not a trivial matter.
Yeah.
The, eh, so I've got a couple more on here. I'm not gonna get into it, but all the links will be in the show notes for you over at episode 732 at chuckchat.com/technorama. Most of them are, between 30 and 50 minutes.
Would you just
I've
go
been wa
search in YouTube for documentaries?
I don't know what I started searching. I was well, I told you last week that I was watching old computer stuff, like how this Commodore was restored or
Yeah.
and that may have led me on to some of this stuff.
Oh, I speak. You know what? I should have put this in here. There was not a documentary, but this guy was talking about a lost programming language for the Commodore 64 that his parents had a couple that were living in a room in their house
Mhm.
for a while, and the guy worked for this company making this um, programming language for the Commodore, and he said, "Oh, you like Commodore? Hey, why don't you give it a try?" And he played around with it a little bit, and he wrote up a little paper basically saying what he liked and disliked about it, gave it to the guy, but he never saw the language ever come out. So he started researching, and he found that uh, it didn't necessarily come out for the Commodore, but he saw it for the Amiga and maybe some other hardware. I have to pull that up, and maybe I'll put it in the show notes for next week. But you might be interested in watching that. It was pretty cool. How he went. They couldn't remember, him and his sister couldn't remember the guy's name, but then when he started digging a little bit, he found some clues and went, "That's his name," and so they were able to follow his career a little bit.
That happens
So
to me at work all the time. Who was I talking to last week about this thing?
I know. Well, there's so many people that I talk to. Yeah, I do the same
Yeah.
thing.
All right, that takes us to the end. Again, if you want to see more, there's more show notes, more in the show notes in episode 732. Our question of the week for yes.
Wait a minute.
What?
I still got one thing. I just wanted to plug this for our other podcast. The topic is Trek, which will be putting out. I started to say shooting. We'll be putting it out on Friday. I'm reviewing a book. It's a Star Trek: The Next Generation book from the 80s or so called Blaze of Glory. So I'll be talking about that, and you can tune in to the topic is Trek and hear what I got to say about that book.
That topic is Trek.com. How's that?
Yeah, I had it myself.
We only have one ding dong around here.
Yeah, actually.
Exactly, Eric. Question of the week for you this time to ponder is from Mad Marv. He said, "The reason I run or play Dungeons and Dragons is blank." And he wants wrong answers only.
For the chicks.
So that's what you thought of? answer?
For the chicks, and the fame, and the fortune.
Mine is so I can be eaten and die by a rat bite.
That's okay.
That's the way I want to go.
That's the way.
I'm rolling a 1.
That's the way you want to go.
All right.
There you go.
I knew I shouldn't have given him on the mixer with the soundboard on it.
That's right. Sorry, I'll stop.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right. That is it for the week. And we are going to go record our Patreon show. So good luck to you, patron members. And in the meantime, give us a call on the listener line, 707-530-2428. We'd love to hear from you, 707-530-CHAT. Let's chat. Or email us, technorama@chuckchat.com. We'll get it. Just like Mad Marv sent it.
Yeah.
We might read it on the show. If you got an idea for a question of the week, we'd love to hear that too. Wrong answers only.
Right.
Until next time, tell a friend about Technorama or not.
Your call.
Watch some more movies or not. And Happy New Year, everyone.
That's
Wish
right.
you all the best. Craig, give him a binary high five.
All right. 101.
It's the end. Oh, I cut it off partway into that. You go.
Yeah. I might add it in. I don't know.
We might have to look at these show notes again. We have things like you can also find us on Spotify, Radio Public, Google Podcasts.
I added up. I know we need to clean those up.
One of
I added
those three is
because
gone. Twitter.
do it.
It says Twitter in there. Google Podcasts
Oh, yeah.
is gone and doesn't even have a link.
Right. Watch us on Xer.
Switcher. Nope, they're gone too. I know this because I'm reading a book. Alrighty, we're going to end the live stream. Peace out, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.